Good morning, Abundant Life Church. This is Pastor Chris, and we're going to finish up our study of Romans chapter 2, verses 25 through 29. We've been talking about circumcision, why God gave it. God gave it as a symbol not to be saved, He gave it as a sign of faith. The people who were circumcised, are saying, we believe in God, we trust in God, and we will pass that trust on to the next generation as well. Okay, so I think it's pretty easy to see how the meaning of circumcision applies to us Gentiles today. What does it tell us about our own faith? Look at verses 28 and 29 here. A person is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision merely outward and physical. No, a person is a Jew who is one inwardly. And circumcision is circumcision of the heart by the Spirit, not by the written code. Such a person's praise is not from other people, but from God. Once again, this comes down to faith. What's a true Jew? What defines a Jew or God's chosen? The Hebrew people had seen themselves as a group set apart, as a group that would believe God. Yes, belief is everything. This is what they weren't stressing. It's about belief, not heritage. It's about belief. We are a group, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Circumcision, then, if it's based on belief, circumcision isn't really what makes somebody believe in God. For the Hebrews who trace their lineage back to Abraham, circumcision defined their place as God's people. But here's the thing. Before Abraham was circumcised, he was already right with God because he believed. He had faith. He had a willingness to believe and obey. It wasn't some surgery he had when he was 6 days old that made him righteous. That was just a sign. It was just a mark of the faith that he had. God's people are always marked by the sign of faith. They believe, they want to follow, they trust, they obey. So a true Jew is someone who was born into one of the 12 Hebrew tribes, had this surgery. Is that a true Jew? Or is God's chosen somebody who has enough faith to trust in him and come to him through Jesus? Circumcision marked God's people. And today, what marks us is our faith. If you were circumcised as a baby and you grew up without faith, you think God's obligated to save you because you had a surgery years ago? No, without faith, the sign is meaningless. For a person to be right with God, to be one of his chosen people, to be one of the true Jews, they have to do what Abraham did. And no, it's not getting circumcised. It's believing, it's trusting. God asked Abraham to trust him. Again, that situation seemed hopeless. He was an old man. He was 90 years old. His wife was 80. They'd never been able to have children. And not only are they too old at that point, God waits 10 years until Abraham is 100 and Sarah is 90. Think about that. You're 100, your wife is 90. Time to start that family. Hey, let's be changing diapers. Let's go to parent-teacher conferences in my early hundreds. But Abraham believed God. As ridiculous as his promise sounded that he would have a son, Abraham believed God. That circumcision was a sign of that belief. Being a true Jew means you are willing to follow that same example of trust and belief. We trust God. God told us if we come through Jesus, we will be saved. Do you trust him? Are you willing to give your whole self up to him? If you are, guess what that makes you? It makes you a true Jew. This whole question isn't about circumcision, it's about faith. God wants a faith relationship with us. For Abraham, circumcision was a sign of that faith. For us, that sign is a willingness to trust in Jesus. I want to close by telling you about, I think it was the first time I ever came to Grass Valley. I think it was Grass Valley. Anyways, it was 1985. I had just graduated from Bible college, just started working with the youth group at Willows Christian Church over in Willows. And I'd only been there a couple weeks. The senior pastor had set this trip up. I think we came to Grass Valley to go on one of those outreach expeditions where we go backpacking up in the wilderness for a week. It was a great trip. I took the boys from the youth group up there. Great trip. We went backpacking, we went camping, we went without showers. Okay. But we also went rock climbing and rappelling. Rock climbing was okay. It was all right. I liked it enough. But rappelling was awesome. And that surprised me because I don't like heights. I'm afraid of heights. But I loved rappelling down those rocks. I would climb up to the top again just so I could go rappelling. Now, here's the thing. When you're rappelling, you are walking down the rock backwards. So before you get over the edge, you got your back to the edge. You're depending on the person holding your rope. It can be kind of scary. And these are teenage boys. We had some big burly football players who were terrified about walking backwards down the rock face. They were scared. We had some skinny little freshmen who didn't mind at all. You see, there's a definite class system in high school, but something changed here. It didn't matter who they were before. The ones who were willing to risk it, they were put into a special standing. All of a sudden, it's not based on looks, it's not based on popularity. It's the ones who had enough faith that were willing to dare to walk backwards down that rock. Faith is like this. God's chosen people aren't the ones who were born into the right family. It's not the ones who have all the cool accomplishments. God's people are the ones who say, I will trust. I will trust in Jesus. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.